Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about Neptune in the 12th house in the natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the Neptune placements in the houses. They're a little bit concise, and some people may have referred to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them, in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, Neptune in the 12th house naturally can be comparable to Neptune in Pisces, but you've got to blend in the zodiac sign. Say Neptune in Pisces in the 12th house can be different than Neptune in Virgo in the 12th house, as an example. Now, the thing about Neptune is it's connected with dreams and fantasies. It can be about our literal dreams, but also what we fantasize about. And the thing about this is, well, you may dream and fantasize, having this placement in the 12th, Neptune in the 12th house, you may dream and fantasize. It could be about being a medium, a psychic, somebody that works in the metaphysical, which includes astrology, or doing something with poetry, dancing, photography, chemistry, maybe helping the less fortunate, encouraging those, that are in less fortunate positions to help themselves. It could be doing something, with a lot of compassion and sacrifice, maybe working in the paranormal. As some examples. Now, Neptune is also associated with inspiration, what inspires us. So, if you have Neptune posited in the 12th house in your natal chart, things that are, inspirational to you, may be tied in with spirituality or, again, poetry, dancing, photography, just sacrificing for others, doing something again with the metaphysical, which can include astrology or doing something with fishing or boating, some kind of work at this, by the sea, or this is these are some things where you may have tremendous inspiration for, and also just being able to work through restrictions, limitations, your fears, and the thing about, or even just simply relaxation, meditation, doing something with film or video, as some examples, and just being able to sacrifice for others in general. These could be things that strongly, where you have a lot of inspiration for. Now, Neptune is also connected with hidden adversaries or hidden enemies. So, if you have Neptune in the 12th house, those hidden enemies or hidden adversaries may be, more really tied in, to the, secret sorrows. Um, they may even be more nebulous and unclear than the typical hidden enemy. They may be people that are very deceptive and duplicitous and dreamy. Um, it may be, these are people you may have actually sacrificed for a number of times. It could be people that were imprisoned or incarcerated, the less fortunate, which includes the oppressed, the impoverished, the hungry, the homeless. Maybe people that are very intuitive, or you may even actually use, your intuition to be able to, lead these people out. But the thing is, it may be people also involved in drugs or alcohol. Um, hidden enemies could even be an aunt or an uncle in some cases. Now, Neptune is also associated with, our ideals, what we're idealistic about, but at the same time, it's where we may have a tendency to be unrealistic. If you have Neptune in the 12th house, well, you may be very idealistic, in matters, that are connected with an aunt or an uncle, or doing things, for the less fortunate, being able, to weed out, maybe decipher, decode, hidden enemies, and really about what you may be doing in solitude and seclusion, as well. But keep in mind, and 12th house is also our limitations and restrictions. So being able to say work through, certain limitations and restrictions, just guard against being overly, unrealistic in those matters as well. And being able to work through fears can be very positive, having, being idealistic in that regard. Now, another thing about Neptune, it's also connection, with what's dissolved, what could be dissolving or dissipating. And keep in mind, the 12th house does correspond to the zodiac sign Pisces, so, it's anatomically connected, the feet and the toes, so there may be, some, weakness at some point, again, the dissolving, dissipation, weakness associated with the feet or the toes or even the pineal gland, the lymphatic or immune system. And the thing too is things that are, your dreams at some point, sadly, in some cases, may dissolve or dissipate, but it doesn't mean you can't start new ones at some point. And also maybe even a connection with an aunt or an uncle, but at the same time, on the positive end, this could be the dissolving, dissipation, the evaporation of hidden adversaries, such as those that are impersonating themselves as friends but are truly enemies. It could also be, just sometimes it could be the private life even that you may feel, is dissolving to some degree as well. Now, Neptune is also associated with deception and duplicity. So, the people, you may be, sometimes it could be self-deception, I would say, in dealing, with some kind of, limitation or restriction. Dealing with somebody or, that was deceptive, maybe tied in with secret sorrows. Maybe being gullible can be the self-undoing in some cases. There may be more deception than most, tied in, to people that were formerly, incarcerated, imprisoned, those that are less fortunate position than yourself. It could even be tied into an aunt or uncle in some cases, or people that figured prominently in your private life. Now, Neptune is also connected with psychic receptivity. So if you have Neptune in the 12th house, well, you may use, certain, intuitive, prowess or ability, to figure, weed out again, like the hidden enemies. It may be used more when you're in isolation, in solitude or seclusion. It may be, when you're trying to, dealing, it could be, matters with hospitalization. Maybe you have some insight as to when, you might, sadly, you might be hospitalized for something, or matters with the, if you are, somehow, for whatever reason, there's some surgical procedures, an example, you might, have some insight as to when you're leaving or when it's going to be okay for you to leave. It could even be matters with the paranormal or even a debilitated significant other. Keep in mind, this is 6 houses from the 7th house, so that's why it's connected, with debilitating, significant other or marriage partner. Neptune in astrology is also associated with what's nebulous, unclear, or obscure. So if you have this placement, again, it could be, matters with a debilitating or sickly, significant others, such as a marriage partner, maybe not understanding what's wrong with the person. As an example, could be like some enigmatic or confounding illness that the person endures. It might be even trying to figure out, the fears, that you're going through, whether they're somehow, whether they're connected, for example, with self-sabotage, or whether they're actually true fears. As an example, it could be, an aunt or an uncle may be really vague or nebulous or unclear. It could be, the attainment of some kind of dream or fantasy that you may have had. And also, too, when you have Neptune in the 12th house, it could be where you're doing, Neptune, related things in solitude or seclusion, such as, dancing, poetry, photography, the metaphysical, which includes astrology, or even something with spirituality, meditation, relaxation, as some examples. Anyway, people, that will conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.